tonight's episode of Late Night with Jimmy. Kimmel was supposed to be unforgettable. The audience buzzed with excitement when Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, walked on stage in a sleek black dress, greeted by applause that rippled through the studio. Jimmy welcomed her with a warm smile, complimenting her recent humanitarian work and new creative ventures. The conversation started friendly, almost too friendly. Meghan leaned in, her eyes bright. But something in the air felt charged, as if both host and guest knew this night would not be ordinary. Jimmy began with light questions. Charity work, documentaries, life in Los Angeles. Meghan answered with grace, even humor. The crowd laughed at a shared joke about fame and privacy. But then, almost out of nowhere, Jimmy made a remark about celebrity culture that struck a nerve. He joked, and perhaps carelessly, about entitlement in Hollywood, referencing a viral meme about royal etiquette. The applause faded. Meghan's smile tightened. Her eyes flicked to the side as if weighing her next words with precision. The tension was subtle at first. A raised eyebrow, a half-smile that didn't quite reach the eyes, but it grew. Jimmy followed up with a slightly sharper question, suggesting that Meghan's advocacy sometimes drew mixed reactions online. The audience shifted in their seats. Meghan paused, then replied coolly, reminding Jimmy that criticism comes with public life, but that empathy and understanding matter more. Her voice was calm, too calm. Jimmy, perhaps sensing a shift in tone, tried to diffuse it with a joke about social media trolls. For a moment, it sounded like normal late-night banter, the kind that keeps guests laughing nervously. But Meghan didn't laugh. She didn't even nod. Her jaw clenched, and she took a breath as though preparing for a different kind of conversation. The electricity in the room changed. It was no longer humor. It was confrontation. "You know," she said, voice steady but firm, "it's interesting how easily people forget that there are real lives behind headlines." The audience leaned in. Jimmy smiled, trying to bridge back to lightness. But Meghan wasn't done. She spoke about media scrutiny, about loyalty and about respect, not just for herself but for families and causes she cared about. Her eyes darted occasionally to the cameras, then back to Jimmy, like she was challenging him to meet her intensity. Jimmy, in response, tried to pivot. He asked something about her future projects, but Meghan interrupted him, politely at first, then more directly, saying it felt like the narrative was being steered in a direction she didn't appreciate. The crowd murmured. You could feel the temperature rise. It was no longer a late-night interview. It was a showdown. In that charged silence, Meghan's posture shifted. She stood a little taller, squared her shoulders, and declared, and with unmistakable resolve, that respect was essential in conversations about identity, experience, and public life. Then, without another word, she turned on her heel and walked off the set. Gasps filled the studio. Jimmy blinked, momentarily stunned, as the band played awkward jazz to fill the sudden silence. The audience sat frozen for a heartbeat. Then applause, uncertain at first, began to spread. Some cheered her conviction, others whispered in disbelief at the abrupt ending. The camera cut away. Jimmy gave a soft chuckle to recover, and the show moved on like nothing extraordinary had occurred. But everyone watching knew it had been anything but ordinary.